David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, breaking news, the chilling new 911 call after the mysterious and shocking death of NASCAR legend Kyle Busch.
He's awake. He's on the bathroom floor right now.
A medical emergency just one day before the 41-year-old father of two tragically died. What we're learning about the illness he suffered leading up to his hospitalization. The tributes pouring in tonight, and Kyle Busch, in his own words, reflecting on what would be his final win. Also breaking in New York City, an explosion and fire at a shipyard, injuring 16 people, including firefighters, some seriously. The late details just coming in. The dangerous storms with tens of millions on the move this Memorial Day weekend. Dramatic new video of a possible tornado in Alabama. Much of the Northeast bracing for a holiday washout. New details on that runway sinkhole at one of the nation's busiest airports, and the record holiday travel coming amid soaring gas prices. Tulsi Gabbard out as Director of National Intelligence. Why she's stepping down now. Plus, President Trump fending off a growing Republican revolt and defending the $1.8 billion fund that could compensate rioters who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. The horrific scene outside a courthouse tonight, 2 lawyers shot. Police say the suspect's civil case had just been thrown out. Developing news in the West, concerns over a toxic chemical leak forcing evacuations. The dire new warning over the rapidly spreading Ebola virus. And tonight, growing concerns about the World Cup in the U.S. The Pentagon releasing new videos of UFOs amid calls for transparency. The Coast Guard spotting this one flying parallel to a plane in the southeast. The terrifying school bus crash, 9 students rushed to the hospital. The remarkable feat, a 7-year-old scaling the famous 3,000-foot face of El Capitan. And the firefighters who just wouldn't quit, how they rescued this trapped pup from under a patio. America strong.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. We're following several developing stories. An explosion in New York City injuring firefighters. Dangerous weather impacting millions over the holiday weekend. But we do begin with new details in the stunning death of NASCAR legend Kyle Busch. A newly released 911 call revealing the NASCAR champion suffered a medical emergency just one day before he died. The 41-year-old father of two passing away Thursday following what was described as a severe illness. Tributes pouring in tonight, and what the NASCAR CEO just said. ABC's Will Reeve leading us off.
Rowdy Nation loves it.
Tonight, just 24 hours after the tragic death of NASCAR legend Kyle Busch at age 41, listen to the heartbreaking 911 call made the day before he died.
Can I get an ambulance to come to?
That call for help from the GM Charlotte Technical Center in North Carolina. The Associated Press reporting Busch had been training in a racing simulator when he became unresponsive.
Tell me exactly what's happened.
I've got an individual that's shortness of breath, very hot, thinks he's going to pass out, and is producing a little bit of blood, coughing up some blood.
At the time of the call, it sounded like Busch was conscious.
Is he awake?
He is awake. He's awake. He's on the bathroom floor right now.
The dispatcher saying help was on the way.
We will let EMS know, okay? We got him coming out there.
The next day, Busch's family breaking the news that the husband and father of two had died after being hospitalized with a severe illness. 2 weeks earlier, Busch had radioed his crew during a race asking for medical help.
Tell him I need him after the race, please. I'm going to need a shot. Copy.
Kyle Busch has been suffering.
Announcers described it as a sinus cold exacerbated by the G-forces of driving a race car. A week later, Busch said he was still feeling it.
You can kind of still hear it. I'm still not great, but the cough was pretty substantial last week.
Tonight, tributes are pouring in from the world of motorsports and beyond. From the speedways of Indianapolis and Charlotte to the Carolina Hurricanes playoff game.
Our thoughts are with his family, friends, and fans around the world.
Kyle Busch just defines what it means to be a racer in NASCAR. Everything about it, the fire, the greatness, the heart that sometimes you rarely saw. The sport was truly lucky to have him.
Just a week ago, Busch sharing these poignant words. reflecting on what would be his final win.
Why do these moments never get old, Kyle?
Because you never know when the last one is.
And Whit, NASCAR's CEO described each race week as a sort of family reunion and said that they wouldn't be the same without Busch, but that they would do their best to continue his legacy and support his family. A cause of death is not yet known, Whit.
Such a difficult loss. All right, Will Reeve, we appreciate it. Also breaking tonight, more than a dozen people injured, including firefighters, after a major explosion and fire at a Staten Island shipyard. Let's get right to ABC's Matt Rivers.
Tonight, the deadly explosion rocking a Staten Island shipyard. At least one person killed, 30 more injured, including more than a dozen New York City firefighters. Hundreds of first responders racing to the scene. Authorities say it started as a fire in a basement where 2 workers were believed trapped around 3:30 this afternoon. Firefighters conducting search and rescue operations when a second blast occurred. Several firefighters seriously injured.
I want to express my gratitude to every first responder who rushed to the scene. As the fire grew, first responders did what they always do. They ran towards danger so others could escape to safety.
Whit, officials still trying to figure out exactly what caused this explosion.
All right, Matt Rivers with those late details. Thank you. Now to the powerful storm sweeping across the country with millions traveling for Memorial Day. This reported tornado here tearing through Tuscaloosa. Much of the Northeast now bracing for a rainy holiday weekend. A record 45 million Americans are expected to travel despite soaring gas prices. And new details on that runway sinkhole at one of the nation's busiest airports. ABC's Andrew Dymburt reports tonight from LaGuardia.
Tonight, the dangerous storms slamming the South with tens of millions on the move for the Memorial Day holiday. New video showing a reported tornado menacing drivers just outside Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It comes as TSA predicting more than 18 million people will be flying to their destinations. Here at New York's LaGuardia Airport, a sinkhole shutting down one of the runways for the past 3 days.
I saw they had a sinkhole or something, and so flights were delayed, and hoping mine wasn't, but I got here so early.
That runway reopening late Friday evening. Nearly 40 million people are expected to hit the roads this weekend, despite soaring gas prices. According to Gas Buddy, 16 states are on track to have the highest prices for gas on Memorial Day. The national average gas price is now $4.53, up $1.59 from the start of the war. Some Americans forced to dial back plans for the big travel weekend.
It's hard to afford anything right now, so gas prices are tough.
And Whit, for those millions of Americans powering through the pain at the pump, it'll also be a soggy, unofficial start to summer. Whit.
That's right, Andrew Dymburt. Thank you. Let's get right to senior meteorologist Lee Goldberg. And Lee, as Andrew mentioned there, the dangerous conditions expected to last for days over the holiday weekend.
Whit, summer's dry run anything but dry in the east. We're going to have flooding. We have severe storms. We've had a tornado in Alabama today. There's a new thunderstorm watch across North Texas. We had 2 landspouts there this afternoon. So a flood watch goes from Texas, Louisiana into the Ohio Valley. We've got rain from Atlanta to D.C. Now, the rain is going to continue across the South, Midwest, and Northeast for much of the weekend. Saturday into Sunday, that's the worst of the heavy rain in the Northeast with some flash flooding. And as the rain exits the Northeast later Sunday, the same storms are being scattered about in the Southeast and the Gulf Coast. The highest rainfall totals in the South, but a flood watch is there through Monday. 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, Houston to Charlotte, all the way to New York City. It's the rain and the chill in the Northeast. 50s and 60s after 90s earlier. Finally, it gets warmer by Memorial Day. Whit?
So we'll have to wait for that improvement. All right, Lee, thanks. There is also a developing story in the West tonight. Tens of thousands of people told to evacuate after a toxic chemical leak. Authorities issuing an urgent warning. Here's ABC's Trevor Ault.
Tonight, a hazmat emergency south of Los Angeles. 40,000 residents ordered to evacuate in the town of Garden Grove after a toxic chemical leak from a tank at an aerospace facility. Orange County officials say there are only 2 possible scenarios, both of them dangerous. Either the tank could fail or it will explode.
One, it fails and cracks and all the product leaks out onto the ground. The other option that was told to us is that it blows up.
That leak triggered yesterday when a valve overheated on a 34,000-gallon tank containing a liquid used to make acrylic plastics. It was initially spewing toxic chemicals into the air. Fire crews spraying the tank with water, trying to cool it down. By this morning, county officials expanded the evacuation zone, but they say 15% of residents are refusing to leave their homes.
At some point, this is going to fail, and we're doing our best to figure out the when or how we can prevent it. But at this point, The only two options that are facing us, only plan is out there is this thing failing.
And with this evacuation zone is massive, nearly 10 square miles at risk from a chemical explosion, but officials say thousands of people are refusing to leave. Whit.
Okay, Trevor Alt, our thanks to you. Tonight, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has resigned after learning her husband has a rare bone cancer. Her departure comes as President Trump is defending a controversial $1.8 billion fund meant to compensate his allies who claim they were targeted by the Biden administration. Here's ABC's chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Tonight, the president's director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, announcing she's resigning, citing her husband's recent diagnosis with a rare form of bone cancer. Gabbard saying, "I cannot in good conscience ask him to face this fight alone while I continue in this demanding and time-consuming position." President Trump quick to praise Gabbard, saying Tulsi has done an incredible job and we will miss her.
Tulsi Gabbard!
But her tenure has been rocky. A former Democratic representative turned Trump loyalist, Gabbard was largely left out of key national security decisions, including those surrounding U.S. action in Venezuela and then in Iran. In March, shortly after the war began, Gabbard refusing to echo the president's claim that Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S.
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the president based on a volume of information.
It is precisely
that he receives.
Trump then pressed on whether he had lost confidence in her.
I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon, because if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it immediately. I think she's probably a little bit softer on that issue, but that's okay. Some people are. Most people aren't.
Gabbard is now the fourth member of Trump's cabinet to depart in just the last 3 months, all women. Meanwhile, tonight, the president is fending off a growing Republican revolt over his $1.8 billion taxpayer fund to compensate allies who say they were mistreated by the Biden administration. A group that could include the rioters who stormed the Capitol and attacked police officers on January 6th.
Mr. President, are you going to cancel the weaponization fund?
Trump digging in on social media, insisting, "I am helping others who were so badly abused by an evil, corrupt, and weaponized Biden administration receive, at long last, justice." But a growing number of Republicans denouncing the plan. In a blistering statement, Senator Mitch McConnell, the former Republican leader, saying, "So the nation's top law enforcement official is asking for a slush fund to pay people who assault cops? Utterly stupid, morally wrong. Take your pick."
And Whit, Senate Republicans are concerned and worried that this fund could cost them the majority in the upcoming midterms. It's a rare public break between the president and his own party. Whit.
Mary Bruce at the White House tonight. Now to North Carolina, where two attorneys were shot outside a courthouse. Police say after a woman's civil case was thrown out, she returned to her car, retrieved a gun, and opened fire. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, gunfire erupting outside a North Carolina courthouse where police say two attorneys were shot by a woman who had just had her civil case thrown out.
Downtown, you got a shooting, 300 Fayetteville. We got two victims over here in between in the alley.
Just heard a bunch of sirens.
It happened around 10:30 this morning in downtown Raleigh after police say the woman became belligerent during her court appearance. Police say the suspect left the building, drove back with a gun, and shot the lawyers who argued against her in court.
The suspect got out of the vehicle, approached the two victims, shot both victims, and that's when the deputies and officers were able to take that suspect in custody.
Police tending to the two victims on the pavement and seen in video obtained by our station WTVD taking the suspect into custody on charges of attempted murder.
The woman had been in court after a dispute with her neighbors who had accused her of making violent threats.
Aaron Katursky, thanks so much. News tonight on the growing Ebola outbreak in Central Africa. The suspected number of people killed by the virus tripling in just 1 week. And now with the World Cup less than 3 weeks away, U.S. officials insist they're taking this extremely seriously. ABC's Faith Abube at the CDC tonight.
Amid urgent warnings that the deadly Ebola virus is spreading rapidly in parts of Central Africa, tonight the White House demanding that the soccer team from the Democratic Republic of the Congo stay isolated from anyone recently in that country or risk being banned from entering the U.S.
We've made it very clear to the very top of FIFA. We've made it very clear to the Congo government as well that they need to maintain that bubble, or they risk not being able to travel to the United States.
The Congolese team is currently in Belgium and expected to arrive in Houston on June 11th. Their first match 6 days later.
We are taking this extremely seriously.
The news comes as the suspected number of people killed by Ebola nearly triples in just 1 week. Health officials also tracking roughly 750 suspected cases.
We're now revising our risk assessment to very high at the national level and low at global level.
Meantime, that American missionary doctor infected with Ebola and under treatment at a hospital in Berlin reunited with his family. 2 of his 4 young children seen here visiting him through an isolation window. The family has tested negative and remains in quarantine.
And with CDC officials today saying they're deploying 7 experts from their offices here in Atlanta to parts of Central Africa where the Ebola virus is raging. Whit.
Okay, Faith Abube, we appreciate it. When we come back, the dramatic video, a terrifying school bus crash sending 9 students to the hospital near Boston. Plus, the Pentagon releasing new videos of UFOs amid calls for transparency. And the stunning image, the 7-year-old scaling the famous 3,000-foot face of El Capitan. Next tonight, a terrifying school bus crash. 9 students sent to the hospital near Boston. Police say the bus was turning left when it was hit by a speeding car. The students are expected to be okay. It's unclear whether charges will be filed. A sheriff's deputy shot and critically hurt at an Indiana hospital. Authorities say the deputy stopped for a broken-down car, then took the driver to the hospital after he asked. Once he arrived, police say the deputy discovered the driver may have been involved in an earlier criminal incident, and the two got into a fight. The deputy shot 3 times. The suspect ran into the woods. He was arrested a short time later. When we come back, the new UFO videos just released by the Pentagon and the little 7-year-old scaling one of the world's most dangerous mountains. To the index now, the Pentagon is out with 64 new UFO files, including videos, audio recordings, and military reports. The release adds fresh details to ongoing military investigations into unexplained aerial objects, like this one spotted by the Coast Guard in the southeast. Another seen moving fast over this undisclosed area. More files are expected to be made public soon. Meet the 7-year-old making history on one of the world's most dangerous climbs. The National Park Service just confirming Joey Evermore right there is the youngest person ever to climb the famed El Capitan. The previous record holder, his brother, who scaled El Capitan when he was just 8. The family saying they do this to inspire others. Still ahead, America Strong, the must-see rescue, how fire crews went above and beyond to save a small dog. Finally tonight, America Strong, the incredible rescue of a trapped pup in the emotional reunion.
Lab 45, animal rescue.
We were right here. We could hear him in this tunnel.
Firefighters in Centennial, Colorado, rushing to help owners find their beloved dog, Tank.
We got dispatched initially to just an animal rescue. One of the dogs got underneath the deck.
When we heard him barking, he was right. It sounded like right here.
Gotcha. A full technical rescue team on the scene using every tool to locate the Yorkie. Saws and drills cutting through the deck and patio.
There's 2 decks here. There's a wood deck, and then we've got a concrete slab.
Camera down that one.
Firefighters feeding a camera into the cramped space.
Bolt cutters back here.
Is that him? Is that him right there?
Yeah,
right there.
I see him moving.
Tinky, come here.
I got him.
You do?
He's right here. Oh my God, oh my God. I've got his leg. He's alive. Oh my God. Come on.
Drag his ass out.
Finally, the emotional reunion as rescuers lift up Tank and place him into his owner's arms.
Hi, buddy.
I'm so grateful. Gosh, thank you guys so much. Everybody for their help.
Great to see little Tank doing okay. Well done, guys. I'm Whit Johnson in New York. Have a good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.